Her voice echoed through the alley before I even turned around. Emmett, is that really you? I didn't move. I just stood there, holding a paper cup of burnt diner coffee, staring at the flickering neon sign above the laundromat like it was more interesting than the woman who shattered my life. She gasped when she saw my face. Or maybe it was the beard, or the fact that I didn't look like the man who used to fold her sweaters and warm up her car on snowy mornings. What happened to you? She whispered. What happened? She happened. That alley, that town, that version of me. It only existed because 1 year earlier, I walked out the door with nothing but a half-dead phone, 2 pairs of jeans, and the unbearable knowledge that my wife, had been sleeping with someone I'd once called a friend. I didn't disappear out of pride. I disappeared because staying meant breathing in her lies every single day. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't survive another fake smile, another, I love you, with someone else's cologne still on her skin. So I left everything. I drove 8 states away in a rusted Camry that smelled like old fries and cat pee. Took a job fixing arcade machines for cash. Rented a room above a bar with paper-thin walls and a view of a dumpster. Ate cold soup from cans. Slept in clothes. Cried more nights than I care to admit. No one knew where I was. Until now. And there she was. In heels. Hair done. Nails painted. Like betrayal wasn't still pulsing between us. I've been looking everywhere, she said, stepping closer like she still had the right. I didn't want to be found. Please, just let me talk. I didn't know what I was doing. I was scared. I cut her off with a laugh, so bitter it surprised even me. Scared? You weren't scared when you snuck off to motels. You weren't scared when you told your sister I'd gone emotionally cold. You were comfortable, Laura. That's worse. She flinched. Good, because I'd flinched for months. At every sound, every smell, every memory that reminded me of what we used to be. What she chose to throw away. She started crying, and I hated how much I still knew her. She'd cry like that when she wanted to rewrite history, one trembling lip at a time. And it used to work. But this time, no. She didn't know who I'd become. And I hadn't even told her the worst part yet. Because what she didn't know, what I hadn't said out loud to anyone, was that during that year of silence, I'd found something that she never expected. And I was about to lose it if she didn't walk away. But of course, she never just walked away. She followed me down the alley like she owned the ground we walked on. Like this place wasn't meant to erase her. You look so different, she said. You're thinner. Are you eating? Emmett, are you okay? That was rich coming from her. She used to complain when I didn't want to go to brunch with her friends. Now suddenly she cared if I was eating? I didn't answer. I kept walking until we reached the back of the laundromat where I had a plastic crate filled with books and a bent lawn chair I used on my breaks. It was my spot. Pathetic? Maybe. But it was mine. I know I can't fix it, she said, hugging herself like she was the one who got cheated on. But I've changed. I swear to God I've changed. You changed the minute you thought I wouldn't find out. She winced, and I finally looked at her. Her makeup was smeared, and there was a run in her stockings. For a moment, a stupid little part of me felt something, like a ghost of pity, but it vanished fast. You want to know something funny? I said, tossing my coffee into the trash. I didn't leave just because of the affair. Her mouth opened, but I didn't let her speak. I left because you became a stranger in my own house. The way you looked at your phone more than you looked at me. The way you laughed louder at his jokes than mine. The way you stopped talking in bed unless it was to sigh like you were stuck with me. She shook her head, eyes wide like she couldn't believe the words. But it was all true. Every inch of it. I never wanted to hurt you, she whispered. You just didn't care enough not to. And that's when she crumbled. Right there on the sidewalk, in heels, in the freezing wind, in front of a rusted air conditioner dripping brown water. She started sobbing like the world had ended. But mine ended a long time ago. While she cried, I stood there, arms crossed, heart pounding, and thought about all the nights I spent trying to forget the sound of her laughter when it wasn't meant for me. All the days I prayed for a message that never came. And now here she was, crying in my alley, because she thought I might still be hers. I should have walked away. I should have gone inside and slammed the door behind me. But I didn't. Instead, I asked the one question I'd held in for 374 days. Why him, Laura? Her lips trembled. Because he saw me when I didn't feel seen. And that right there, that shattered something I didn't even know was still intact. Because I saw her. Every day, I just wasn't the fantasy she wanted anymore. She wanted thrills. Secrets. The rush of something dangerous and forbidden. And now that it had blown up in her face, she wanted to come crawling back to the man who picked out her earrings and left sticky notes in her lunch bag. She thought she could rewind time. But time had done something to me, too. It had given me someone else. And Laura didn't even know her name yet. She stood up slowly, brushing dirt off her coat like it mattered, like dignity could be reattached with a few careful wipes. Her hands were trembling. Good. Mine had shaken for months after I left, when I'd wake up in a cold sweat with her name stuck in my throat. The difference was, she caused the storm, and now she was crying about the rain. Is there someone else? She asked, voice raw. I didn't answer right away. Not because I wanted to be mysterious, but because I genuinely didn't know what to say. Was there someone else? Yes. And no. It wasn't like I'd fallen into someone's arms and replaced her. It wasn't that simple. Nothing ever was. But I had met someone. Someone who didn't make me feel like I was one step away from being abandoned again. So I looked her in the eye and gave her the first honest thing I'd said in a long time. There's someone who didn't lie to me. That hit her like a slap. She blinked rapidly, like she was trying to reset reality. You're dating? No, I said. I'm healing. And she's not rushing me. Her mouth twisted. You found comfort. That's all. And what did you find in the back seat of that Subaru? I shot back, instantly regretting the venom in my voice, but not enough to take it back. Was that comfort too? She flinched again. She kept doing that, recoiling like I was the one hurting her now. And maybe I was. But I wasn't sorry. She turned away for a moment, pressing her hand to her mouth. When she spoke, it came out muffled. He left me, you know, months ago. I almost laughed. Guess the forbidden thrill wore off, huh? I was stupid, she whispered. You were selfish. She nodded. Finally. Yes, I was. There it was. Not an excuse. Not some teary-eyed monologue about being emotionally neglected. Just a flat, shame-soaked admission. And that almost got to me. Until she stepped closer and said something that made my skin crawl. I still love you. That's when I snapped. No, I said, backing away. You don't love me. You love the version of me that made your life easier. The guy who bought roses after arguments and paid the electric bill on time and told your parents you were the best thing that ever happened to him, even when you weren't. I made a mistake, Emmett. No, Laura. You made decisions. Over and over. In hotel rooms. In text messages. On nights I sat at home wondering why you stopped touching me. The tears returned. She tried to reach for me. I took a step back. I didn't come here to ruin your life, she said quietly. Then why are you here? She hesitated, and that's when I saw it. Something flickered in her eyes. Desperation, yes, but something else. Fear. I need to tell you something, she said. It's about what happened after you left. After everything. She looked pale, like she hadn't slept in days. Like whatever she was about to say wasn't just hard, it was dangerous. And that's when I realized. This wasn't just a woman begging for forgiveness. This was a woman running from something. Something she had dragged right to my doorstep. The way she looked at me, not with guilt anymore, but with sheer, bone-deep fear, it made my stomach twist. Her eyes darted toward the end of the alley like someone might come around the corner any second. I swear I could feel the hairs rise on the back of my neck. Laura, I said, trying to steady my voice. What do you mean? It's about what happened after I left. She swallowed hard. It didn't end with him. With Chris. I blinked. You said he left you. He did. But not before things got bad. I hated how her voice still had the power to crack like that. Like it would pull sympathy out of me whether I wanted it to or not. I wanted to walk away, slam the rusted door behind me, and pretend she'd never found me. But something in her tone rooted me to the sidewalk. He was married, she continued, eyes low. I didn't know at first. But once I found out, it was too late. We were already deep into it. He told me they were separated, that it was over. But it wasn't. Of course it wasn't. Guys like Chris always lie. I know because I used to believe people like him were only in movies, until I found texts from one of them on my wife's phone. He threatened me when I tried to leave, she said. Said if I told anyone about us, he'd ruin me. Said he had pictures, screenshots, even bank transfers from when I paid for the hotels. He knew things about me, Emmett. Things I never told anyone. He said he'd send it all to my job, my family. I should have felt pity. But mostly I felt this hot, suffocating mix of confusion and anger. Why was she telling me this? Now, after tracking me down across state lines? What does this have to do with me? I asked, voice sharper than I intended. Because I think he's looking for you too. That stopped my breath. I stared at her like she was speaking in riddles. Why the hell would he be looking for me? I never even met the guy. Her lip trembled again. I told him I confessed. That I told you everything, and that's why you left. I think he blamed you for making me disappear. I laughed bitterly. So now I'm the problem? She shook her head. No, you're the only one who ever protected me. That almost made me laugh again. Protected her? I left because I couldn't protect myself anymore. I left because loving her was killing me day by day. I left because she chose someone else, again and again, and then expected me to keep wiping away the blood like a good little husband. Still, something in the way her hands shook made me realize this wasn't about guilt anymore. This was something darker. She looked over her shoulder every few seconds. Her voice dropped to a whisper. He knows I came here. My blood ran cold. You told him where I was. No, she gasped. But I think he found out. Or followed me. I didn't see him, but I just feel it, Emmett. I feel like he's close. I couldn't breathe. I wasn't just hiding from my past anymore. My past had followed her, and she had dragged it right to me. My world, which I had rebuilt from ashes and silence and cheap coffee and solitude, was suddenly cracking open all over again. I stared at her, this woman I used to plan anniversaries with, and I couldn't tell if she was here to ask for safety or to destroy the last piece of peace I had left. And then, just as I opened my mouth to ask her to leave, a car engine started at the far end of the alley. We both turned at the same time. Neither of us spoke, but I knew everything was about to get worse. The engine rumbled at the far end of the alley, low and slow, like whoever was behind the wheel wanted us to know they were there, but wasn't in any rush. Laura stepped instinctively behind me, like I was still the man who used to keep her safe, back when she hadn't burned everything between us to the ground. The car didn't move closer. It just idled there, headlights off, hidden behind the heavy December fog. I couldn't make out the model or the plate, just the dark outline of a vehicle, parked sideways, partially blocking the only exit. I turned to Laura. How long ago did you get here? She hesitated. 10, maybe 15 minutes. You come alone? She nodded too quickly. Yes, I swear. I didn't believe her. Not entirely. But I didn't have the luxury of unraveling lies right then. I reached into my jacket pocket, fumbling for the old flip phone I kept for emergencies. No signal. Of course. You can stay inside for 5 minutes, I muttered, unlocking the side door to the laundromat. That's it. 5 minutes. You explain why he's suddenly stalking you, and then you leave. I'm not getting dragged into this. She didn't argue. She just slipped inside like a ghost, and for the first time in a year, Laura stood in my world, the little corner of life I built from scratch. She glanced around at the dented vending machines, the cracked linoleum, the dusty radio on the folding table playing soft classic rock. This is where you live? She asked softly. No, I snapped. This is where I survive. She didn't say anything else. I locked the door behind us, pulled the blinds down, then stared her down. Talk. She sat on one of the plastic chairs like she was back in a therapist's office, nervously twisting the ring she still wore. My ring, though I'd returned mine the night I vanished. Chris started unraveling after you left, she said. I thought he was obsessed with me before, but it got worse. He was furious when I told him you were gone. He said he had questions for you, that he wanted to settle things man to man. But it wasn't just about you. He thought I was hiding something. Were you? I asked. She looked away. At first, no, but then I found something in his apartment. A file. A binder full of screenshots. Pictures of me. Us. Notes. Phone numbers. Passwords. Things I don't even remember telling him. My stomach turned. You're saying he was collecting information? On both of us. You included. I felt like the air had gone out of the room. Why me? I wasn't part of your affair. I didn't even know him. He knew you were married to me. He saw your name on bills, mail, social media. He said he wanted your life, that you didn't deserve it, that I didn't appreciate it. I sat down slowly. It felt like everything was tilting sideways. This wasn't just about a messy affair anymore. This was about obsession, control, and now I was the target of a man I never even met face to face. And you didn't think to tell me this a year ago? I snapped. I thought it would end when I blocked him, when he lost interest. But then I started getting letters. No return address, just notes with 1 or 2 lines. Stuff like, still watching, and you owe me everything. I didn't know what to do. And now you've let him here. She started crying again, but I had nothing left for those tears. Not anymore. I stood up, looked through the blinds. The car was still there, still idling, still dark. He's waiting for something. I muttered. What do we do? I turned to her, bitter as ever. We don't do anything. You leave. I disappear again. That's the deal. Please, she whispered, stepping closer. Don't leave me with this. But that's exactly what she left me with. A life in pieces, trust in ruins, and now, apparently, a stalker. I stared at her, wondering if there was even a sliver of truth left in her. If the person I married still existed somewhere beneath the chaos. But then something clicked in my mind. That file she mentioned. The screenshots. The photos. The passwords. There was only one way Chris could have known some of those things about me. Someone gave them to him. And I wasn't sure Lara was telling me everything. I couldn't shake the thought. The passwords, the accounts, the details only someone close to me would know. It wasn't just stuff Chris had guessed. It was personal. Too personal. Lara, I said carefully, my voice colder now. How much did you actually tell him about me? She blinked fast, confused. What? Barely anything. Just normal stuff. What you did for work. Your birthday, maybe. Stuff like that. I stared at her. You ever send him a picture of our bills? My ID? My emails? No. God. Emmett, I'm not an idiot. But she had been an idiot. She'd risked everything for a man who didn't care if she burned her life down. And now she was standing here acting like she hadn't handed him the match. He has passwords to things I never shared with anyone, I said. Accounts I created years ago. Stuff even you didn't know about. Her face went pale. Then how? I don't know. But someone gave him more than pillow talk. Silence stretched between us, thick with something unsaid. She opened her mouth to protest, but I wasn't in the mood for another half-confession. My thoughts were spinning too fast, and that car outside still hadn't moved. Was Chris out there? Or was someone else watching us now? I checked the lock again. Then I checked my phone. Still no signal. That's when it hit me. The weird static on the radio, the sudden dead zone in a place where I usually had 1 or 2 bars. It felt off. I turned to Lara. Give me your phone. She hesitated, but handed it over. I turned it off and pulled the battery out. What are you doing? She asked. If he's tracking you, he's not doing it through magic. Her hands were shaking again. She looked like she wanted to throw up. Outside, the car engine cut. That sound, the sudden silence, made my pulse spike. We both turned toward the window. The alley was empty, but something in my gut told me. He wasn't gone. He was just getting closer. The silence outside felt louder than the engine ever did. Like the alley itself was holding its breath. I stepped toward the window but stayed to the side, just in case. Lara gripped the edge of the table, her knuckles white, watching me like I was the only shield she had left. I motioned for her to stay quiet. Then I flicked the light off. The laundromat went dark except for the faint glow of the vending machine and the blinking red open sign in the front window. I could barely hear it over the blood pounding in my ears, but there were footsteps outside. Not hurried, not aggressive, just casual, confident, like someone who already thought they were in control. I looked at Lara. Her eyes were wide, lips pressed tight. Do you have any idea what you brought to my door? I whispered. I didn't mean for this to happen, she said, voice cracking. Neither did I when I married you. She looked away, like that hurt more than the situation we were in. But I wasn't interested in making her feel better. I wanted answers. Tell me the truth, I said. All of it. What else did you give him? She shook her head. I told you. Don't lie. Something shifted in her face then. The guilt she'd been trying to hide finally surfaced. I didn't mean to, she whispered. It was during one of our fights. Before you left. I was angry. I vented to him. I showed him our tax info. I blinked. You what? I was trying to prove something, okay? That I carried more weight. That I wasn't just some spoiled housewife. I didn't know he'd keep it. Or use it. Or, I couldn't breathe. Bank accounts. SSNs. Employment records. That man had my entire life in a folder somewhere. And it was her fault. A loud knock hit the back door. Lara jumped like she'd been electrocuted. I didn't move. I just stared at her. She had betrayed me once with her body. And now, apparently, she'd betrayed me twice with my identity. The knock came again. Slower. 3 short thuds. And then, a voice. Low. Mocking. Calm. Emmett, I know you're in there. I just want to talk, man. It was him. Chris. The man I'd never met, but who'd rewritten my entire life from the shadows. And now, he was at my door. I didn't open the door. I didn't flinch. I didn't shout. I didn't give him the satisfaction of knowing I was on the other side with my heart jackhammering in my chest. Instead, I walked straight past Laura, picked up the cordless phone I kept stashed in the back office, the one on its own private landline, not the dead cell towers, and called the local sheriff's department. It rang twice. Yeah, I said low, steady. There's a man trespassing behind my business. He's threatened me before. I want him gone. Laura stared at me, her face contorted with guilt, shame, fear, all the emotions I used to drown in. But not anymore. Emmett, please, she whispered. Don't make this worse. I turned to her slowly. You already did. Outside, Chris knocked once more. Then silence. No retreating footsteps. Just that tense, awful quiet before something breaks. 5 minutes later, flashing blue lights lit up the alley. I watched from the dark as 2 officers approached him, hand on their holsters, calm but firm. He didn't resist, just raised his hands, smirking like it was all some misunderstanding. But I knew better. And so did they, because this wasn't the first report they'd had about him. Laura moved to the window, hands over her mouth as they cuffed him. I didn't think he'd actually stalk you across state lines, dig through our finances, threaten my life. I said, cutting her off. Maybe you didn't think, Laura. That was the whole problem. She turned to me, tears streaking her cheeks again. I didn't come here to hurt you. I nodded slowly. No, but you did. And now, you want me to pretend the fire didn't already burn everything down. She looked like she was about to fall apart again. And for once, I didn't rush to catch her. I opened the front door. The night air hit hard and cold, but it felt clean, fresh, like I could finally breathe again. I have someone now, I said, voice low. I didn't plan it. I didn't look for it. But she sees me, Laura, really sees me. And she doesn't lie. She doesn't leave passwords out in the open. She doesn't give pieces of me away to strangers. Laura stepped forward, but I held up a hand. You lost me a long time ago. This, what we had, it's over. I don't hate you, but I won't be your backup plan. Her lips trembled. You won't even talk to me again? No, I said, because I'm finally someone I actually like, and I refuse to become him again. She stood there, frozen, as the cops drove off with Chris in the back seat. I watched her leave a few minutes later, alone, shoulders slumped, the ring she refused to remove still glinting under the streetlight. But this time, it meant nothing. That night, I didn't pack a bag. I didn't run. I didn't vanish. I stayed, because for once, I had nothing to run from.